What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and this is my brutally honest review for Star Wars Outlaws. Now, I am just going to say right up front, I can't hate this game. I've seen a ton of backlash, of anger, of people calling for boycotts because of this game, saying it looks low quality, or the faces are weird, or the character models are all janky and stuff like that. But now, after having beaten the game itself, playing it with an open mind, I gotta say, this is actually better than I expected. But let me explain why, because the parts of this game that are good are great, and the parts of it that are bad are abysmal. Let's begin. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So what is Star Wars Outlaws? This is an open world game, a typical Ubisoft project with lots of collectibles and side quests and exploration, but where it really sets itself apart is honestly the scope, the size, and the impact of this game is actually really dang jaw-dropping. So we're playing as Kay Vess. She's like a little scrapper, a scrounger, a scavenger who's trying to be a low-tier thief. She's trying to just essentially get by. Well, at the beginning of the game, she gets roped into trying to do a big heist to steal something from this like space bounty bad billionaire. But the job goes very, very wrong. So now you've got a bounty on you, a death mark. If anybody in the galaxy manages to kill Kay Vess, they get a very hefty paycheck. So what you're doing throughout the course of this game is you're trying to get a crew together. A slicer, somebody who can hack some panels, a droid expert who can get past the deadly robots that are just trying to guard the vault, essentially trying to build an entire team of heavy, hardcore, experienced criminals to go back to that bad job and finish it, to steal $137 million in credits to buy your own blood bounty and essentially clear your name. I have to say, more than anything else, this is the best part of the game, is that it stays laser focused. As you go through this, you explore a lot of different planets. There's jungle planets, there's Tatooine, there's all sorts of cool tropical and exotic spots and stuff like that, but there is a singular focus to the game itself. Bust that vault, find these people. There's a constant checklist of the next person you need to recruit, and I will say, I like the characters we find. I think it's cool. The explosive expert on, there's like this big, huge robot you work with called Indy. And I think my thing is that I think the writing in this game is pretty good, except for Kay Vess. So before we start to break down all the different styles of combat and gameplay and space and stuff like that, my biggest gripe with this game is something that pops up predominantly throughout the entire adventure. After having spent so much time with it, all the characters feel consistent, contained, and actually well written, except for Kay Vess. And the problem is that this very much feels like Marvel movie writing. Now, I know a lot of people love Marvel movies. I'm not saying that all Disney stuff is bad, but something they do in Marvel movies is that the main character's got to be like a little quirky, plucky underdog. They constantly speak in that stammering, nervous, silly style of, maybe we could be friends, or, oh, well, what if we, I don't know, like went over there. Kay Vess does that randomly throughout the entire game. And my problem with it is that it's so inconsistent. Because this game is open world, and because they tell you the entire objective at the start, bust the vault, they really set you free. They really kind of just say, go to the planets in any order you want, recruit people in any order you want, and it makes it where the freedom of this game is truly unmatched. The fact that you can just pick up and fly through the universe, we're going to get into that, but my problem is the fact that because it's open world, it makes it where you can choose to do the main missions in any order you want. Like there isn't like a structured symbol. So because of it, her character growth constantly feels like it's resetting. Like if I go to one planet and I'm trying to hassle Jabba the Hutt, or I'm going over and dealing with like cool space bug people and the evil queen of the Ashiga clan, that's cool. At the beginning of every quest line, she's this little cheesy, oh, I don't know what I'm doing kind of thief. And by the end of it, she's a hardened expert, which means that for every quest line, she starts super goofy, and every quest line, she ends as a badass. And seeing that repeat over and over and over again, it kind of drags out the cool character growth of Kay Vess, and I feel like that's actually cheap. So let's break down the 3 styles of combat, and then we need to do a whole separate section talking about upgrades, and I have some other complaints, but in this game, the most of the game, you're kind of just walking around and talking, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I actually believe that part of the appeal of Star Wars Outlaws is just how real the universe feels. Like, if you're a smuggler, if you're a Han Solo type, you're not going to be shooting everybody in every situation. A lot of times you're just trying to get past without getting caught. There is not experience points. There's not like any sort of static upgrade system. There's no talents and stuff like that. So because of it, everything you do in this game comes down to your skill, your ability to talk your way out of a situation, or your ability to not be detected. I'd say this game is about 70% sneaking and 30% open blasting combat. Now, the problem with the sneaking is that it is incredibly good. Like, when you're trying to creep through places, being undetected, Kay has a little tiny pet weird thing. It's like a little bug, cockroach, puppy dog thing called Nyx. Now, you can use Nyx for all sorts of commands. You can have him jump on an enemy's face. You can have him hack panels. You can have him short stuff out or set off an explosive barrel. But not being detected, it's very fluid. Not being seen is good. The characters, the enemies, the combat AI is incredibly sharp in that not being seen feels accurate. Staying behind a box, staying inside a mist, staying inside some shadows, sneaking feels good. The problem is that the sneaking a lot of times becomes less and less mandatory. 70% of this game being sneaking missions is fun, but the problem is that a lot of them, if anybody sets off a single alarm, it's instantly over. And in a lot of the bases we end up raiding, there are times where if you get seen, it's an automatic game over. Now, the problem is that the deeper into the game you go, the more difficult sneaking gets. There's more guards, more droids, more cameras, more just less spots to hide and stuff like that. And if you get seen, it's over. There was a time, I'm not going to show it because it's literally the last mission of the game, but towards the end of the game, there was a spot where at one point there were like 20 guys in a room, and it said, take down every target without being seen, without raising an alarm, and if I messed up, it restarted. I got stuck on it for like an hour, and as much as I love the sneaking, as much as I love distracting and trying to do stealth takedowns and stuff, it still sucked to try and take down 20 people without making a single error. But let's talk about the gunplay. So Kay Vess has this little tiny laser pistol thing that has different modes to it. Initially, it just fires very slow single shot. It's considered to be a relic. It's a upgradable badass weapon, but it's also definitely not very common. So as you're playing through the story, you get different upgrades where it can shoot one big shot, it can stun people, it gets like an electric shot, which is basically for frying droids or if somebody throws up a shield and stuff like that. But when the actual gunfights start, combat in this game is a bit funky because I like it, it's fun, but I almost think it becomes too easy in that I did a lot of side quests during the course of the main game. It took me 26 hours to hit the ending credits, but I did probably 15 missions, 10 missions around there of side quests during it to keep getting upgrades. And as your gun gets upgraded, these are big boosts to power. It's rapid fire, it's less cooling, it's the ability to knock people off balance quicker or charge faster and stuff like that. And I think that the combat is cool because it feels good to actually fight back after all those sneaking missions. My problem is that, honestly, if anything, I wish we had an item belt. So when you kill people, some weapons can be picked up. Sniper rifles, grenade launchers, and stuff like that. It's cool to pick up the enemy weapons, and honestly, they're incredibly freaking strong. My problem is that there's no way to bring them with you. There is no item belt. Now, this is just their design. I'm not saying the developers are wrong, but I'm saying as a person now that's beaten the game, I think sometimes those guns I'd pick up were some of my favorite weapons. Even if they were technically weaker than my fully upgraded pistol thing, it felt cool to have like a freaking stormtrooper's rifle and just be mowing people down and stuff like that. The fact that I can't take stuff with me at all. The second you press any button, open any door, anything, it falls out of your hand, and that sucks. But here's the other part of it. So every single mission kind of plays out the same. And I think this is part of the reason I feel like binging this game lowers the quality of it. I played this 30 hours of it in 3 days. I did three 10-hour sessions. Yeah, that was a heck of a grind. The thing is that I feel like this game needs you to take breaks. This game needs you to do those side missions, to explore, to stare at the flora and fauna, because if you're just gung-ho rushing to the ending credits, you're beginning to notice the pattern of it. There is a cyclical nature to the main missions. You're trying to find somebody to recruit for your team. They have some sort of mess they're in. You got to help some local cartel or do something like that. And then at the end of every single mission, something goes bad and you have to shoot your way out. Oh, you're raiding this downed Death Star. There's like a big battle cruiser that's crashed. You get a chance to explore this destroyed Star Destroyer, and it's incredibly cool. It's spooky. You got a little like blue flashlight. Great mission. Oh man, the bad guy showed up. You got to shoot your way out. So, okay, that's pretty cool. Oh wait, what's the next mission? Now I'm breaking into like a big headquarters of the Empire. Oh no, I've been detected and I have to shoot my way out. My thing is that it's not even that this stuff feels repetitious, it's that these Uncharted style escape scenes are badass, to be honest with you, but doing 4 in a row or 5 in a row, or even doing side quests that have that same thing where at the end there's like a big dramatic chase scene escape, it lessens the impact. It lessens that cool, like, wow, what a cool set piece if you see it again and again and again with a different coat of paint. Now, let's talk about the hacking and the space combat. So there is a lot of different styles of gameplay in this. We've talked about the fact that you can stealth, you can knock people out, you can just be undetected, you can just blast people as the best of your ability. I mean, you will die quite a bit. You definitely don't have a lot of health, but we'll talk about upgrades. My issue is the fact that you are also having to slice, which is hacking, and also this thing where you can use your little tiny sonic screwdriver. You like hack vents with this rhythm minigame. My issue is that since big parts of this game require you to be undetected, it sucks to be hacking vents, to be putting in keycards. It sucks to be trying to do rhythm-based, pattern-based games in the middle of an event. This does not stop time. I had multiple sections of the game where I got very frustrated because I was trying to hack a vent and not be detected, because if I even got spotted, it's game over. And you could say skill issue. My problem is that a lot of these feel random. The difficulty of a hack, the slicing itself, does feel very, very randomized. So there were times where I just kept trying to do something over and over again. Also, there are some areas where if you're in combat, you just can't do the quest objective. Like it becomes very annoying when I've snuck through a base, I get spotted, and it goes, oh, can't go to the next area until the alarm has ended. And you just have to sit there. And it's like, okay, do I restart the save point? Do I just, I don't know. Like, okay, space combat. You can fly around at any time you want. After the first planet, your starship is fully equipped with the warp drive and shields and everything like that, which means you can go up to space, and there are space missions you can do, but there's also space combat. So throughout the course of Star Wars Outlaws, there's different syndicates, there's different crime gangs, the Ashiga, the Crimson Dawn, the Hutts. Now, what this essentially means is that they all come to either like you or hate you to different amounts. If you screw over one gang or help one gang, if you shoot guards or steal from somebody, they're obviously not going to like you a lot. But there's also the Empire. This takes place between Star Wars Episode 5 and Episode 6, and so because of it, this is the time where there isn't any Jedi. This is after the destruction of the first Death Star, so the Empire still currently rules the galaxy, and they're also still very on high alert. So because of it, there is this GTA-style wanted system. As you break laws, as you do stuff, very, very naughty stuff in town, you will end up encountering a lot of the goons, the bads, the stormtroopers and stuff like that. But if you're up in space, you'll find random salvage, destroyed space stations and stuff like that. While you're grabbing it as well, you can actually just end up getting a wanted level, fighting against TIE fighters, or even sometimes like bootleg, jumbled together syndicate spaceships and stuff like that. The space combat, in my opinion, it's not bad, but it doesn't really feel that good. It's kind of just, you can like hold left trigger and it zooms in and does like this auto aim style thing and shoot. As you upgrade your ship, you get different styles of missile and, little stuff like that. Space combat feels good, but it's only required for a couple missions, and I'm very thankful it's not more mandatory. I did not do a lot of the missions that required space combat. There's like a bunch of optional ones, but since I just didn't enjoy it, I mostly stayed on the ground. When you're playing this game, there are missions all over the place. There's constant objectives of, hey, do you want to get your speeder bike and race people? Oh, do you want to help a person up in the mountains, or do this or do that? And a lot of this gives you tons of crafting materials. I think one of the parts of this game that I respect the most is the fact that the upgrade system it's linear in that you're always getting stronger, but I really like the fact that, honestly, getting stronger does not really feel like the game gets simpler for the most part, in that as you begin to do quests and side quests and explore, opening up different random treasure chests and finding cool loot, you'll get stuff like Durasteel or struts and stuff like that lets you actually upgrade Kay Vess's weapons. It gives you extra health, but I kind of like the fact that really, the main part that makes Kay Vess different at the end of the game compared to the beginning of the game is your skill with her. Like, more than anything else, I just got better at playing the game. The upgrades made it so I could take more hits or carry more grenades and stuff like that, but most of the game was really just me getting better at not being seen. And I like that. I like that the end of the game was definitely tough because I couldn't just, rely on being power leveled, but I think this game, for all the flaws, for all my complaints, I feel like people in the comment section go, you sound so negative. I'm ripping this game apart because, honestly, I think this is a way better Ubisoft experience than we've had in a bit. I feel like the trope with Ubisoft games is stuff that's like 200 hours long with 8 trillion collect flags and go over here and pick flowers. I think I like the fact that every planet in Star Wars Outlaws feels real. Every quest, every upgrade, every time I go back to the workbench to change a coat of paint on my ship or install new deflectors, or here's some new side quest mission to unlock a weird, dinky extra piece of my phaser gun. I like the fact that every part of this feels honestly so cohesive. Yeah, the writing is kind of janky. Yeah, it's silly. I can hit somebody over the head and they're randomly going to get knocked out even though they're wearing like a stormtrooper helmet. I feel like this game, it's actually a much better Star Wars because it doesn't feel connected to Star Wars. As a person that does not care about that universe, I was paying close attention. I'm taking all these notes and stuff like that. I like the fact that nobody's talking about the Jedi. Nobody's talking about Lord Palpatine. People are literally just trying to get by. This is the people that actually live in the Star Wars universe, trying to live in the Star Wars universe. I enjoyed this game way more than I thought. Maybe it's not worth 60 or 70 bucks to you, but what do you guys think about Star Wars Outlaws? Are you still excited for it, or does this just seem like a typical Ubisoft cash grab? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Oh man. What a binge in this game all day, every day for 3 days was a very interesting experience. I'm going to take a break from Star Wars again.